Good morning, folks. Welcome back. It's John Pettipas. I'm doing a video. Bright, beautiful morning. The sunshine's shining in the office window here. It's 7 minutes before 7 o'clock in the morning on Mother's Day, Sunday morning, the 8th day of May, 2022. And it's going to be called Greed, Fisherman, and EILEEN. Greed, Fisherman, EILEEN. And it's not made with jealousy. There's a guy out west I know. He's worth in the tens of millions, and he's one of the most down-to-earth cats I've ever known. He's been privately invested over the years in oil and natural gas, owns natural gas wells, which the price has been very low for a while, but it's certainly not low anymore, and he's invested in many other stuff, and with other people sometime, and they've done industrial projects, and men like him have helped to build a country. He's a little bit older than me. He's probably in his late 60s or early 70s, actually a fair bit older than me. But that said, he told me one morning, he said, greed is a terrible thing. Business is this thing, and seeing stuff go ahead. He said, greed is a terrible thing. And some people say about lying this, it doesn't fizz me one bit. And I'm going to mention Eileen Woodness again. I thought this morning as I reviewed the video was uploaded overnight. It takes a long time here to upload a video. And this video may not be uploaded tonight or tomorrow because I have one more video in the system that may be uploaded than this one. So you might not see this till Monday. But anyway, that's fine. She was born in late 1938 or 39. I think it was actually late 19. I sent a video in 1939. She was born in 38 because she's going to be 84 this birthday this December, so it's 83 now. I didn't think she was that old. She was 82, but she's 83 and not afraid to say her age. Anyway, they take in, why should people be so silly? And she's just be afraid to say her age anyway, men or women, but age is what it is. And she made I know from, so she was born in 38. She remembers as a 6-year-old girl at the end of World War II, the video I just watched and uploaded. And so when she was about no more than 15 years old, she went to work in Antigonish. She worked at the Goshen restaurant in the summertime, spring, summer, and fall. She met Colonel Sanders there. And she worked at the Brigadoon restaurant where the Bank of Nova Scotia is the main street in Antigonish now. And she come home with 3 $20 bills. That was a lot of money. And her father smoked. Hey, wasn't a drinker, certainly wasn't a drug user, but he smoked. That was uncommon with fishermen then and people. People didn't know the great danger of smoking. And he had a zigzag of McDonald tobacco little can on top of the shelf in the kitchen, and she put her 3 $20 bills in there that she worked so hard to save. She stayed in a rooming house and doing her own cooking, and they take, and she's a single woman then, and she takes a single lady, and she's a single girl, and that 3 $20 bills was so her father could buy twine and lats. That's the lats he made the traps from. Didn't buy traps, he made the traps and did his headings, and twine and rope to hold the traps in their place in the water. And she's the second oldest in the family. She had a brother Robert, the oldest in the family, and she's about, I think, a year and a half younger than her brother Robert. Second oldest, and so that was a consideration. And one time somebody come in the store, and it was a fisherman complaining that the effing price of lobsters was too low and the effing prices weren't good. And said, my father fished and supported, I think there was 6 or 7 in that family. I think there was 7 kids. 7 or 8 kids Carl and Mary had. And she never talks like this. She made a very unusual comment. These guys aren't fishermen, she said. She said, my father fished whatever was out there. They started with mackerel or lobster, then it was herring or salmon or whatever was on the go. I don't know if there's, on that side of Atlantic, there'd be smelts. Don't know if there wouldn't be Kaplan. You get that in Newfoundland. What's the one they get up? Gaspereau. I don't know if Gaspereau comes in the Atlantic coast. But they take and says, he didn't get unemployment. If Carl didn't work, he didn't have money to feed us. And that's why she came home in the winter, in March one day, to see her parents on the weekend. And she put that 3 $20 bills in her father's in a tobacco can. And one more thing. Karl Marr died fairly young. He was his mid to late 60s. He died. I never had the opportunity, pleasure of knowing him. I knew his widow quite well and the rest of the family. But she says her father, actually, I think it was one of the sons told me that. or daughter-in-laws. Karl Marr cried in his deathbed, was moved to tears. Wasn't self-pity, it was generosity, tears of compassion. He cried, telling his other sons that smoked, not to please don't smoke. Here I am with terminal lung cancer. Please don't smoke. So the lobster fishing is on a high. It's like somebody that's manic depressive and they're on a high, and they're on ecstasy or cocaine. I don't see this out of jealousy. There's a whole world out there. There's wars, and there's very high diesel prices this year, and gasoline, and there'll be higher yet diesel prices in the next couple of weeks. Then it'll be gasoline going up, and we're short of oil. But when people get just me, no, me, it's got to be an Eileen. I praised her to hilt, and it's not praise. It's just one of the most positive, upbeat ladies, and there's not a jealous bone in her body. There is not a jealous bone in her body. And I've known so many people. They lose their husbands to cancer. Hey, they have special needs children. They have difficulties come up in their life, and yet they're positive and they go forward. And there's some people just rolling it in, and they can't think of anything but me, mine, me, I want this, me, I want this. Poor, pitiful me. It's not a good way to live. It's not, and I know some extremely rich people. Okay, and they all have one thing in common. They're very rich, self-made, very rich, and the people poor or just getting by are very similar. They both have gratitude. You get that crew in between. You take somebody off a farm or someplace out of a boat or out of the countryside or a town and give them a big high-paying job in a government office or in an industry that they make money they couldn't believe, and often they get a little snooty. Okay, not everybody. Some appreciate it, but the very wealthy, self-made, and the poor are very similar. I've noticed that repeatedly. I'm going on too long in this video. But for name of God, appreciate what you have, appreciate good times, enjoy the nice day, and a happy Mother's Day week to all the mothers and mothers-to-be and mothers gone and mother-in-laws, in-laws, outlaws. And with that, I got to go. But that's the video I've been wanting to make for a while. Greed, fishermen, and Eileen. And several of her brother-in-laws were fishermen. And let me see, one of her brothers fished at one point. One of her brothers fished. Her father was a fisherman. So lots of fishermen in that family. She's not anti-fishing. A prominent MLA who's now in heaven had a lady that worked for him. And what I was phoning the citation, and it's the birthday or anniversary, and I happened to mention something about fishermen in the paper that morning. This is a story 25 years ago. And the lady responded back. She was meek and says, I said, fishermen are kind of hard to please sometimes. And she raised her, John, you do not try to please the fishermen. And she said to me, you just hope to keep them reasonably satisfied. So prove me wrong. And this lady that was working for the prominent MLA who's now in heaven, father's a fisherman, two of her uncles are fishermen, and her brothers. So if this lady said, I think two of them, all four do lobsters, and one or two of them do crab. And she's from a fishing family. So when this nice lady who's since married made that comment, she's not out jealous of the fishermen. Says, I'll never forget that. And she said, John, you don't try to keep the fishermen happy. You just hope you can keep them reasonably satisfied. Again, I ask people of all occupations, if you're making big money at West and doing well somewhere else, in the name of God, appreciate what you have. Life is short. Appreciate what you have. Don't get your ass knocked because somebody else is getting 50 cents or $1 a pound more down in Southwest and over Eastern Shore because they had their lobster season open at 28 and yours didn't open until May 2nd, May 3rd this year in this area, Halden Traps. With that, I gotta go. All the best. God bless. And we do wish you a bountiful catch and in reasonable prices and prosperity for all people. I love to see people do well. Thank you very much. Good morning.